G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's shed. Well, the weather report, blowing its ass off, absolutely. The daytime temperatures, well, it's 19 to 26. We're expecting 26 today, which is fine. That's good working weather. It's sunny this morning, no clouds in the sky, but if it's anything like yesterday, a few clouds blow up through the day and it just blowing its ass off. They're expecting 40 km/h winds this morning. Yeah, they say 17 to 20 kilometres an hour, not knots, kilometres an hour now. And yeah, look, we haven't got that yet here. It's quite good. The shed's not rattling and banging and all that. And over the weekend, I thought I'd do a bit of filming in here, and well, the shed was rattling and creaking because of the clouds, and I had plenty to do outside, so I pulled the pin on inside shed work. It's just, yeah, I had plenty to do outside. So Saturday, I put about 11 hours in out in the paddock, and one of the bottom heaps I got cleaned up. The second heap up, it's about done. There's, look, probably half a day in it maybe, and there's still some in the yards. There used to be yards till old mate, my neighbour, pulled all the wire out of the fence. There's probably a bucket load or two of branches and sticks and all that in there. So, so we're taking the time in the cooler weather to, yeah, try and get that done. And then I slashed the entire paddock. Well, with getting rid of the piles, and I slashed it probably a fortnight ago or 3 weeks ago. But the grass was that thick then that where all the mulch laid over, where your wheel track was and it laid over, well, after a week or two, you know, it sticks up. So, so I went out and slashed the whole paddock again, and look, it's looking good now. And because the weather's starting to cool down here and we haven't had any rain, they're saying perhaps showers the next day or two. Because we haven't had any rain, well, yeah, the growth's slowing up. So I'm just hoping that it's, yeah, I can put that off a little bit now and not have to worry about so much time in the yard outside. Then yesterday, well, I was on the rider mower. I rider mowed. I slashed. I think you call it topping overseas. I slashed the whole paddock, and then yesterday morning, through the morning, I mowed it with the rider mower. Not the whole paddock, just the areas that we like to do, like the orchard and around the shed here and around the house and up the driveway and things like that, around the dams. And so I got that done yesterday, which, yeah, sort of the whole weekend pretty well was doing that. Now, Mum come out for a yarn yesterday arvo and pick up a bit of dirt. We've got some dirt out of the dams. When the drought was on, I cleaned the dams and we've got some good piles of dirt there. So I had a big bucket of dirt up on Jude's garden there I took up with the loader. So Mum come and got some of that. And then my mate Davey Rocket Recco rolled out. Him and Paul come out last Monday afternoon, and the cane railway carriage is out the front here that I showed quite a few stews back. They started pulling them apart because Dave's got another one that the club owns, the Rum City Vintage Machinery Club owns at his house that him and Paul have volunteered to restore it on behalf of the club. And some of the timber was rotted out on that, so they're pulling these apart out here, trying to get enough good parts and even just templates to get one going. And they're trying to have it done by the Bundaberg show, which is June, I think. So so they got a couple of bits out of it last Monday, but then Dave was feeling bad because he left a mess out the front here, and I wasn't too worried. But yeah, he come out yesterday and he tidied two up completely, and the rotten timber we've got ready for the heap. And yeah, the heap, we had to, because of the wind, we had to let the fire go out. Like, it went for 2.5 weeks, just little. And but yeah, it was just dangerous with the wind, so we've got rid of the fire. We've taken a heap of ash up to the garden. Jude's got the wheelbarrow and, you know, and all the nice ash for around the veggies and things like that up at the back and around the citrus and things like that. So yeah, this weekend on Saturday, little Freya well, I think it's Thursday, little Freya becomes 1. That's a birthday we weren't sure we'd ever see. But yeah, cheeky little bugger. She's up and, yeah, not walking on her own, but she's, doing the hanging on to things and walking around stuff. And yeah, she hits 1 on Thursday. So at our place next Saturday morning, there's a first birthday party. Yeah, they were going to have it down some park or something, but plans changed, and they saw us a couple of weeks ago and said, oh, can we have it in the front yard where we have all our parties? And we said, yeah, all right. So that was part of getting the extra mowing and whippersnipping done up the house too, tidy that up. And I've still got to get some of the books I took out of my office into my little machine shop yet. So yeah, a bit of mucking around to do after work this week, I think. But yeah, we'll see how we go. I got 5 PTO collars machined up this last week. Like, one minute I got 12 or 14 of them sitting in stock, and next thing Nicole's saying, oh look, we only got 4 left, Lance. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I better get going. So I machined them up through the week. This little plate here, now look at the shine on that, just beautiful. So I turned this in the lathe, and this is the David Brown Selectomatic control valve tool. I turned that in the lathe, and that's your lathe finish, which is pretty good, but I wasn't 100% happy because O-rings have to seal on it, so I run a shell cutter across the top of it. And look at that shine there, if I can get the bloody camera. Yeah, anyway, you can see that. I got that machined up and the holes drilled and all that, so it's up the back here, and I'm going to see which thread I'm going to put in the holes there, because they say to use an injector tester, and I think I mentioned a week or 2 ago now that I'm going to use the Porter Power. Now, the Porter Power, it's only a hand one. It's not the air operated one like the 10,000 pound one I use on the press. It is a 10,000 pound one, but just with the Porter Power, that little hand Porter Power, it'll be fine. I'll just go gentle. The other reason is that they say to do the test, take the fuel out of your injector tester and put light oil in and all that, and I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to put the same oil, the light transmission oil that I have in the other thing. So that's on its way. So there's always something going on in the background here. Yes, anyway, I may get that done today. That's what I brought it up here for, to see what fittings I need to screw in, probably quarter BSB or something, just so I can make an adapter to the Porter Power. So that'll work okay. I stuffed it up a bit. I was only going to do a 1/8, the size for a 1/8 NPT or BSP, and just for the hose going in, because we only got to go 2,500 pound, I was going to use a grease gun hose, because I've tested those to over 7,000 pound. And but then up in the shed, I was just following the diagram, and next thing I had the hole drilled, and I thought, oh, you bloody dickhead. Yeah, we're going to make that smaller. So now I got to fix it. So no big deal. The next weekend with Freya's birthday, next weekend's a long weekend. It's May Day weekend in Australia. This stew will probably come out on Wednesday. Tomorrow is the 25th of April, and that's Anzac Day. And that's a day where we remember the fallen and those that perished in the wars, and First World War, Gallipoli and all that sort of thing. So I'll probably have the video edited up, but I won't release it on our Anzac Day. I'll hold it over until Wednesday, just to have a bit of respect, sort of thing, really. So the machining of this is going to be part 2 of the stew. It's already edited. It's ready to rock and roll, but I'm just holding it until, we'll put out stew part 1, stew part 2. One will be a chat, one will be a machining one, which you blokes that follow the machine, you'll be looking forward to the machining. I haven't done an awful lot on the channel. The channel started out machining and just what I was doing in the shed and a few tractors, and over the time it's just gone more and more tractor, and it's just natural progression. I don't know. I haven't got a plan. It's just I roar along, whatever happens, happens. I've got a couple of tripods here. Now, we've had a big week buying cameras and things like that, so I just want to show you a few things that are going to happen early this morning. Now, this tripod here, I'll shift that one out of the way. This tripod here, this is the one I do a lot of the filming on, and it's got a collar here so I can raise and lower this. It's got a hook underneath that I actually hang a mudguard spacer off a 65 on, and the reason I use this one is I can tighten that up, I can loosen this off, and I can put a camera out here and sit that across the bench. So I can have this side level with the front of the bench, and I can have the camera sitting over the front there. Now, what I should be able to do with it is have it on an angle like that if I choose to, now to look down over something, but with the weight of my camera, the Panasonic Lumix, it's too much for it. You think you're doing a wonderful job, and next thing you just start slowly creeping down with the weight of the camera on the end. So no big deal. So what I normally do is have it at right angles and just pull it through that little bit so it's rigid, and away it goes. But this has been a good tripod for me for what I do. It's a Zoomy, Z-O-M-I-E, and look, it does fine for what I need. The trouble at the moment though is on the legs here, we have these, if I want to raise and lower the legs, I have to undo the knob there and put it back on, and you try and wipe your hands up and do it, but in the middle of a job sometimes I don't go and I don't head off and, where's my bloody chair? I thought my chair went. Yeah, you just wipe your hands, but these get a bit tacky. And then the other thing is if you're in a hurry, well, there's one of them here, and I'm not sure which one it is, but there you go. You go to pull the leg out and the whole thing falls out. So it's been a frustration for me, that bloody thing. So I do have another Zoomy. That's the brand anyway. I do have another one, but it hasn't got the flexible top on it at all. It's just a straight top, which is fine for a lot of things, but it has these little levers on them. So you just flick the lever and away you go. So if I haven't got my hands clean or something like that, I can just flick that up and down, do a quick change on the go, and yeah, so it's just a better idea. So this morning's episode, I've got you over on a little old tripod I started with. It's a short tripod. I'm sort of looking down at you a little bit. Normally I like to have the camera looking down on me a little bit, so it gives you a bit more light on your face and things like that, because I know you'll just hang out to see that. But what I'm going to do, because they're the same brand and it looks like these screws here are the same, I'm going to put these legs on this tripod. Now, I was looking on Amazon last night to see which way I'd go, whether I'd buy a new one or what I would do, and they've got one, there's another one out, and it's a bloody big heavy thing, and it looks good, but you can actually have all different angles and lock it into a particular angle. I think it was $155 Australian. So, but look, I think what I may do is just take the legs off this one this morning and put it on the other, and I think with the new camera gear I've got, I can work with that. So, and see, there's another problem with this one. You try and put it off, then you got to figure around and tighten it a few times sometimes. So yeah, now the other leg's letting go. So anyway, so I'm getting the tripod sorted out. Now through the week, my new camera gear come, and I'd like to show you a bit of that. Now, what I normally do just about everything with that Panasonic Lumix, that camera that you're looking on now. I take a separate sound bite on the Tascam D70, I think it might be. I take a sound bite with that, and it's often a clearer sound bite. I can clean it up from the sound bite here on the camera. So that's what this little mic's about. But I've also had a GoPro, and the GoPro is the one I take to shows and things like that, and I don't use it a lot in the shed here because it's a pain in the ass to use. You can't zoom it. You know, if you're looking at something and you want to zoom it, you can't zoom it properly. It's got a good wide angle lens. You can buy batteries cheaply, and replace batteries. That's a good thing. And normally, to have a reasonable microphone on it, you have this thing called a medium mod, and that's got a microphone up there. And so there's your battery, there's your SD card, and you have to fold these legs up, slide that in, then get the legs back down again. Then, where are we? Put that on a mount and turn it around the right way. Put that on a mount. That's to go that way. And put the nut in. Which isn't so bad, but then if you're not sure and you think, oh, perhaps I should do a battery change before the next part of the Grand Parade comes or something like that, you have to go through all of that just to get a battery in and out. And these GoPros, they do have quite a few little GoPro mounts, you know, and they slide into a shoe. And I've got one of those shoes on the dash of the car. But when I go to shows and that, I can walk around with this. And look, it's good enough for that. No worries at all. But I found in the shop here, setting it up on different things was a pain in the arse, and you'd get it over the transmission, say to look into it or whatever, and you couldn't quite zoom it as much as I would have liked to. So I haven't used that an awful lot. The sound's pretty good on it with this medium mod. This is a GoPro 9. I think they're out to 11 now. So I do have that. That's still up and running, working. But I've gone and bought a couple of other cameras. So these are DJI. Now this is a little DJI Osmo 2, I think. Now this little camera here, it's just a tiny little thing. It will do everything the GoPro does. Shoot in 4K. Well, it just does pretty well. I can zoom. It's got a bit of a zoom in. It's a bit clunky. It's got a good wide angle lens on it for filming. This is an extra battery, and they just clip together like that. And I've actually bought an aluminium housing for this. It's not here yet, and it will go onto one of these tripods. And I was thinking that one there, and if I can get that set up. Oh, the other thing too was that you can set the horizon in this, then you can turn the camera 90 degrees and it'll keep that horizon dead level for you. So if I wanted to put it across the bench, I can actually turn it like that and bring it in, and it'll keep the horizon straight for you. So they're a little action camera, cheap enough, and they're magnetic, so you can sit it on something. And yeah, it's a strong little magnet. They come with these are the extra batteries. These are a bit dear, about $89 Australian, I think. And but look, I've decided to do that. I've got a couple of little mounts coming, and I've got a mount that I can put on the bull bar of the ute when we go up to the Cape. And once these clip on, like, you've actually got to press buttons to get them off. So that's a good thing. I'll be pleased to see how that goes. You get a little lanyard that you can pop around your head here, around your neck, and then there's a bracket goes on like that. Probably got it back to front. And that can go up there. Still back to front. That can go on there and you can walk around. It's actually strong enough on the magnet that they say you can, this little piece of magnet here, you can put this down behind your shirt, and to hold it, I'm probably banging around with a microphone there, and you can bang it there and it'll just hold it in your shirt there, so it's not moving around so much. So, but this has The GoPro has video stabilisation, so when you walk along you don't see the walkabout. This just does it better. Yeah, I've watched comparisons with the GoPros and these little DJIs, and this one I can go for a walk around the paddock, and I may go for a walk later just to show you. We'll test the sound on it. I don't know what the sound's like, so we'll try that, and it'll keep the horizon where we need it. It's stabilised. It'll take all the steps and all that sort of thing out, so it's just a smoother thing. Where when I do the walk around with the Lumix here, you fellas know, you can see I'm bumping around and huffing and puffing and buggering about. So yeah, so that was part of the camera package. The other part was a drone. We've bought a Mini 3 drone. I was hoping to pop it up and do a fly around the place for you just as a training exercise for Lance, really. But look, it's been that windy. I've had it up just low and just done a quick little fly just to check it worked and all that, and that's okay. But the other thing I've bought is this little, I think this is a pocket too. And for walk-arounds, this has a gimbal on it. So the gimbal, when it goes up and down and left, right, and it does the same. Now I bought the extension for it, which gives us longer battery life, and I bought a little tripod piece here. So you can walk around without the tripod, but if I want to sit it up on the bench here and sit it on something, I can. Like it'll just sit up there nicely. So with the gimbal, I can have it facing away, or I can have it facing myself. If I want a bit of a chat to you, I can just press the button, it flicks around, looks at me, and it's got a mode where it just hones in on your dial, so you can move the camera up and down and it'll still go with you. So we're going to play with that, and part of that was this external microphone, so I can pop the microphone on my collar there, have a chat, and it'll go straight to here. And the sound quality, whether it's as good as what we have here, I have no idea, but over the next week or two you'll see me playing with these. I'll be doing sound tests and video tests, and all these little cameras do 4K. I can't really upload 4K, it just takes so long. So I think I've got this one set at 2.7K, 30 frames a minute. But yeah, and just for portability, like that, the little tripod folds up, and then yeah, just, you know, you could, when we're out camping or that, you can sit it up on the bonnet of the car and just have a chat or do what you like. So very versatile. It has a quarter thread underneath it, so I can put it on a tripod if I choose to, and that's what the adapter for this is for, so I can put it on a tripod. One of these big tripods as well, or I can just magnet that to the car, chunk it on, and away she goes. So yeah, I've gone with DJI this time instead of GoPro. A lot of people are using them, and the reports are good. Let's just see. This little camera here. And some of the reason behind this is our trips away. So when we're away, like when we went down the Snowy River and that, it would have been nice to run the drone down the river and show you some of that. So we've bought the drone now for that, and for around here. And this here, I can fix the gimbal and I can walk around with a sound bite as well. And yeah, just more mobile, and I should be able to mix and match, and I can still use the footage from this camera with the sound bite, and I can synchronise it with the sound bite from here like I do on that camera there. So so it's about being a little bit more mobile, getting a few different shots. I've sort of done what I've done here for years now, and there's just ways I could do it a little bit better, I think. So yeah, always looking for another option anyway. Yeah, for that's a vlogger's camera, and so for walking around and having a chat, the stabilisation is just beautiful. It's really good. So I can do 64K photos with it, but I've got it set to 16. That's fine for what we do. So so this week's a bit of a camera muck ass around week. that's what I'll be doing this morning first up. Now, John Dudley's head, I will actually show you. I'll try the new cameras out and I'll take you for a little walk up and I'll show you what I've been doing to John Dudley's engine. That's the engine out of the 1929 McCormick. I decided not to film a lot of that. I'm going to keep you up to date with just little snippets along the way, but the amount of time involved in trying to work on the Fergie here and doing that, it's just too much at the moment. So I'll show you what I've done. There's a couple of little things in there I'd like to question you about anyway. See what you know. If anyone's got an F20 workshop manual or I think a 1020 is the same, but this is a 1929 Farmall regular. The timing's a bit of a funny one, but I think I've worked it out, but I'll run it past you anyway. When I asked about the primer for the gearbox for the 65 last week, a lot of you come up with Gliptol, which is what Squat's used, and look, it reads really well. Jesus, it's expensive. So in Australia, for 1 pint, it's $145. So anyway, I got some coming. I thought, well, I'm not really about showing how to patch shit up, and if there's a good cheap way of doing it, fine, let's do that. But I thought, well, look, I'll do it properly, just to do it properly. So that's coming. When it turns up, I don't know. I ordered it last week, so it may turn up today, but if not, it'll be next week or something like that. So I'm at a standstill with the gearbox until that comes. Gordon Ellis from Inverell Rural Wrecking, he's found the front gear I need, so he'll post it today. So I was talking to him Friday and he said, look, I've got one. He said, you wouldn't believe there were so many different ones in a 65 box. He's pulled a couple apart and they're all wrong. So, which is what I had with the 35 here. So that's coming. The gear for the 65 6-speed's coming. So once it gets here, should be full steam ahead with that, and we'll see. But anyway, look, that might do the stew. John Dudley's head, we were going to send it get it professionally done in town to get all the scale and that out, but I've had a look at a couple of the valves. They're touch and go, but for what he's doing, they're fine. We're trying to save him a few bob. Some of the valve guides are worn a little bit, but it's not bad, but if it goes to town, because they have to warrant the work and all that, I do too, but they would have to put new guides in, then we'd be getting them from America and all that. So we've decided I'll do it for him. That calcification in the head there, I'm going to pop it in an electrolysis bath. I used to use electrolysis a lot. I haven't done it for ages, and camera timed out again. But yeah, Barry from Man from the Mist with his David Brown 990 final drive used electrolysis, and look, I have a big tub out the back. I actually have a cattle trough, and it's a cattle trough. It's a whopping thing, and I've got it lead lined. I found a bit of lead at the old scrappies, and I just lined it and put bolts through the side and lead lined it, and I could put bonnets and engine blocks and all sorts of things in it, but I haven't used it for ages. I probably haven't needed to. Some of the engine blocks I used to do, you'd get all the stuff out of them and it'd work well. The Perkins here on the 65, I didn't need to. I could get it that clean with their other. I didn't need to use the electrolysis. So this head, to get this calcification out and tidy it up, I will probably sandblast in the combustion chambers here and sandblast the valves. And I haven't got it going. I've got the Wolf valve grinder up there that needs work, and I sold the other one, and so I'll probably just tidy the valves up on the lathe. That'll be fine, and just cut the seats. The seats are in pretty good nick, so I could probably nearly get away with a lapping job. I'll just see. But yeah, so that head will go in the electrolysis, and we'll just see how that goes from there. But I might use the little cameras here and just take photos of that as I go, or tack it on, or it might be next week's due, who knows. See what happens. So today being Monday, it's a shed day. I am thinking of popping the lift cover off the 65. I've been sort of trying to put it off so when the playlist comes out for the 65 for the gearbox, well, all the gearbox just flows along, and you're not doing 3 or 4 videos with the gearbox and then one of the lift cover, or 2 or 3 of the lift cover, then back to the gearbox. That's what I got thinking. But anyway, perhaps if it drags on too long, we'll just hop in and away we go, I think. So see what happens. I think I've got a new set of the original rims for the 65, so I can take these big heavy bastards off and get rid of them, which will be good. So yeah, so it's coming together slowly. I think Tommy Horwood from Rural Wrecking in Inverell has got a set of rims for me. And then Gordon says, oh, I think I've got a set of rims for you, Lance. And I said, well, Tommy might have one too. So Gordon and Tommy live near each other. So what Gordon does is if he's got to get the tyres off the rims, he takes them to Tommy's anyway. And his blokes get the tyres off for Gordon. So there's a set of rims there somewhere. I don't know who I'm buying them off or what's happening. Gordon's got some. Tommy, I'm hearing second hand of John Dudley, because JD's mates with Tommy, and he said, I'm pretty sure he's got a set of rims for you out there, but he hadn't told you. And then Gordon's got some, so we'll find some rims one way or another. So anyway, we'll just see. Oh, I got the router going. I hopped into the computer box there, and I found on the X-axis, I found one of the wires had come out of one of the little terminals, so I twitched them all and got them all going. So quick test run yesterday, and the router's up and running again, so that's good. So next weekend, with Freya's birthday, it's a long weekend with May Day weekend, and my mate Mick from Mergen, Mick and Margaret are coming over to spend the weekend with us, and so's Dave and Jody from down the coast. So we're going to probably, well, I've asked them would they give me a hand just to tidy up the carport out the back. The council won't put it through until I've got the gutter on the back and the downpipe. So I said, would they mind helping me do that? I find, you know, up the ladder, down the ladder, and my knee plays up, and yeah, so they're going to help me with that. And they're the ones that are coming up to the Cape with us, up Cape York. The sun's nearly up, coming up to Cape York, and so it's going to be a bit of a get together to sort out some stuff there, and you know, work out our maps and that too. So anyway, I've prattled on enough. Thanks for stopping by. I'll shut up now. You may have some videos on the end of this, or you may not. It just depends what I get up to for the day. Now I've got the other cameras going, I'll be keen to play with them a bit. So next week's stew might be interesting with all the stuff around. I think this 2-part series will probably be long enough. All right, thanks for dropping by, and we'll catch you all next week, eh? Sound 8:30. We'll just see how this goes. See how the sound goes. Okay, this is a little bit of footage with the DJI Pocket camera. So we'll just see how it goes. So what I've done here is, I'll just put this towel over the end there, is I've got the bearings in, and I've got the crankshaft in, and all the front plate on and that for timing the engine. And look, it's running over beautifully there. You can see the camshaft down in the back there. Now, I'll just see if I can zoom in there a bit. Yeah, so this is the zoom on the new camera. So when the timing marks line up out the front here, so hang on, I'll get the timing marks lined up if I can. Okay, there's the dots. So you can see the dots there. Now when we come around and we have a look at number 1 cam lobes, these two here, that might be a better way to look at it. You can see the lobes are down, which means it's rocking on number 1. But when you come up the back here, you can see the cam lobes there, and so you can see that's firing on number 4. So it's a bit odd like that, but what we've worked out is, okay, that's timed to how the lines mark up. I found a photo on the net of the timing. So what we've worked out is on the, when we have it there, like it's firing on number 4 now, on the, we have a peephole there in the bell housing. Then when we come across over here again, come for a little walk with me, and we have a look at the flywheel here, and because there's 2 keyways, and when the crank is firing on number 1 and there's 2 keyways, it's sort of, well, if you buggered one key up, you can turn it around and use the other one. But say you've got dead centre here and you've got dead centre over there at 90 degrees. So that would line up with the hole there now in the crank. But then we have this mark here about 10 EC, so we're 10 degrees. We're imagining that's where we're going to be firing. Then we have IC, inlet closed, and EO, hard to see there, exhaust open. So what we're thinking you do, and I pulled the nut off the front of the cam to make sure there's no 2 keyways. So this flywheel can go on either way. Apparently these keys got damaged over the years. So with that like that, I'll just come back over to the engine. So with the marks lined up, you can see the keyway in the crankshaft just in there. So with that lined up there, that's top dead centre. And you can see that by your cranks up there. But we're thinking, I'll try and stay out of the light, we're thinking when you put the magneto drive, it's sitting down there on the floor at the moment because we've been playing with it. Well, we think you have this lined up here on the dots like we have. There's no other marks around the gear. We've looked at that. I've had this off just to make sure there wasn't 2 keys and it had been assembled wrong some stage. It's got quite a lot of backlash on those diamond gears, but we're not going to worry about that. So what we think is when we have the flywheel lined up to DC, top dead centre there, we time the magneto. Well, I think we've got to come 1 full turn of the crankshaft. Well, there's the gear. There it is there. So if we have a look now, the cam lobes, yeah, it'll be firing on number 1 there now. And then we set the magneto. John's got the magneto done up, sitting down at his place at Howard. So yeah, we time it to fire on number 1. So when we set the magneto up, all we really have to do is find the top dead centre on the flywheel through the little peak hole and make sure it's rocking on number 4 and set the magneto impulse to be firing on number 1, and I think we'll be away. But it just seems odd. Usually when you have the dots lined up here, it's firing on number 1 and rocking on number 4, but it's not the case with this engine. So anyway, you got any extra info, give us a yell. Yeah, all thinking out louds will be gratefully accepted. Okay, I've got the setup here now, and you can see it foaming away. That's an old wheelbarrow. I had this plastic pot here, and I thought the head would fit in there, but it's just half an inch too short, the pot maybe. So I've got my power supply I've had here that I've got for electrolysis. That reads 12 volts, 7.8 amps when it's not oscillating, and you can see it frothing away there. I've just got an old bit of, I think it's probably gal strip or something or other in there, just a bit of junk I had. So I'll clean up over here and sit it on that grid to pressure clean it at half time. And this is my old electrolysis bath. Now I've just been chucking rubbish in there, as you can see. I probably need my arse kicked, but I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires around the outside joining up, and I had all these wires aro you can see over the other side there I had lead sheet there. So and that lasted for years, that lead sheet. It's fallen off now with old age, of course, but yeah, this was an old it's an old cattle trough, but yeah, I could fit a whole block in it. Yeah, a whole block, most of a Ferguson bonnet in it, and when you put a bonnet in there, boy, they come out lovely. So yeah, all the paint comes off and all the rust is neutralised. It seems it neutralises the rust as well. So anyway, I'll clean up this little area here so I can pressure clean the thing. This is an area I've just been slowly working away on cleaning up, and yeah, at the moment you can see you can see the sun reflection a bit out there because I've got it outside, but you can see that baking away. It's a bit after 9 in the morning, so we'll give it a little while, and I might give it till lunchtime, and then I'll pop it out, pressure clean it, and I'll give you a look then.